Well, Supernatural is officially over. So spoilers are ahead for the entire series, season 15, the finale, and everything in between. I gotta say, I am pretty sad that one of my favorite shows is over. And, I have a lot of thoughts on the last few episodes of Supernatural. And I gotta say, I loved some of the moments, and other moments I also didn't love. And I guess we got to start with the episode that Castiel died. It felt like a strong episode until he did die. And it's not that he died that I have any issue with. To me, I just didn't like his final scene and his death, how they portrayed it. Okay, for one, I thought Misha Collins acted horribly in this scene. Now, I know this may be a hot take. A lot of people don't feel this way. But to me, he really dropped the Castiel persona and just became Misha or another character. He didn't feel like Castiel saying bye to Dean. And you can interpret what he says to Dean however you want. I know some people want to take it some other ways. I don't really care. You can feel how you want about it. But to me, it was just acted poorly, and it didn't feel like Castiel saying goodbye to Dean. It felt like Misha Collins not being able to keep up the Castiel persona and act the scene correctly and say goodbye to Dean. Now, I'm not trying to bash Misha Collins. I love Castiel, love the character, have for all these years. But it just felt like a very weak way for him to go out. And especially with that death, it kind of made sense. And I get he sacrificed himself for Dean. But just overall, it didn't feel like it was acted well. And it was just very kind of just abrupt and just felt a little off. Now let's go into episode 19. The pacing of this episode was just so quick and kind of choppy. It was just like boom, boom, boom. Here we go. We defeated Chuck. And it was like, what the hell? I thought the world was ending still, but nope, we already beat Chuck. Now I like the callbacks with Lucifer, and we had Michael, and I like how Jack became God. I like all that stuff, but it felt like it should have spanned over 2 episodes probably instead of just the 45 minutes that they got. It just felt like he got slapped in the face with it, and it was just like, okay, here we are. And then at the end of that, we have the montage, and that felt like the true finale. Sam and Dean driving off into the sunset, music playing, montage at the end. That felt like the true finale, like the definitive, they beat Chuck, they're finally free, boom. And then we get episode 20. Episode 20 of Supernatural was something. I feel like their heart was in the right place, but just the execution was a bit off. They needed more time if they wanted to go the route that they went in. They really did need 2 hours to really make the episode breathe a little bit. It felt very fast-paced and very cut up, and the pacing was just a little off. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate this. The heart of the episode was in the right place. I truly believe that. I thought Jared and Jensen killed their scenes. They absolutely were awesome. They got as much emotion and everything in between that you could get out of those moments between those two brothers. Honestly, it was great when they were together, and the death scenes and all that stuff, those are great. But how they got from the beginning to the end was just a little weird. One, it felt like maybe 2 days have passed from when everything kind of got reset, when Jack became God, they were finally free. It literally felt like 2 days, a week, not any time has passed. And then Dean gets killed by a damn vampire. I get it. People can argue oh, Chuck doesn't protect him anymore. There's not a story. Anything can happen, blah, blah, blah. But this dude has killed Death twice. He shot Yellow Eyes. He's killed Hitler. This dude has killed so many damn things, and he gets pretty much ran up on by a vampire, pushed, gets a rebar in his back, and he dies. I don't mind that Dean Winchester died. It's just how it happened I don't care for. Even if he pushed Sam out of the way, and that's what happened to him, I'd be a little bit more okay with it. But for him just to die like that, and it was just kind of, I don't know. I'll be honest. Dean's one of my favorite fictional characters ever. And for him to go out like that, it was just a little meh to me. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed. Again, it's not that he died. It's just how it was executed. I just didn't love, to be completely honest. But the scene of his death and everything, of him and Sam and their exchange, it was good. It was sweet. It tugs on the heartstrings. That part was good. Now, you move on to the Sam Growing Old montage. I thought that was just absolute trash. I'll be completely honest. I hated it. I thought it was way too quick. We didn't see what his wife looks like. His son, we had no attachment to him at all. He named him Dean and all this stuff, but it was just very choppy, very quick. And I don't know, it could have been done a little bit more tasteful. I just didn't care for it. And then we get to the bad wig that Sam was wearing. Oh my God. When he goes to sit in the Impala, was that not the worst wig you've ever seen on any television show? It was awful. Now, when he's on his deathbed, that makeup and wig looks fine. But the other one, it looks like they got it at Party City. It is horrible. It took me out of the moment. And that's not what that should have done. It was supposed to be a moment of reflection, you know, a sorrowful moment that he's remembering Dean, like when he's a little bit older. But no, you just see this stupid clown wig and it looks horrible. So hated that too. And then the whole thing with them getting to heaven and heaven's different now. Great. I like all that. I like that Bobby was there to greet Dean. I thought that was super cool. But I'll be damned if I don't think that COVID ruined this episode for many reasons. Mainly because they weren't able to have all of the people that they lost along the way be in the Roadhouse bar, and they walk in and everyone's there in heaven. How freaking cool would that have been? You could have Bobby, Rufus, John, Mary, Ellen, Joe, Ash, like literally everyone that's died thus far could have been there and greeted him to heaven, and they could have had like pretty much a party. Like honestly, like that would have been so cool. And not to be able to have that satisfaction is a little disappointing, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I like the final scenes of like Dean driving around. I like that. I wish Sam was with him. I thought that would have been a little bit cooler. And I also think it would have been a little bit better if Sam and Dean both got to heaven at the same time. I know they say time works different in heaven and stuff, but it just would have felt a little bit, I don't know, a little bit better if they both got there together. And they could have kind of went through heaven together at the very beginning there. And I would have liked that probably a little bit more. They could have the party at the bar, saw everyone for a good like 10 minutes on the show, and at the end Dean could have been like, hey Sam, let's go take a ride. And that's how you end the show, them riding off in the sunset in heaven. There you go, boom, roll credits. And you shouldn't play Carry On Wayward Son at the end of the episode, by the way. I didn't like that at all. Why change it after all these seasons? Why change it here? I get that they do technically play it, but play it at the beginning like you always do. Show a long montage of all the 15 seasons of like, you know, this is how we started, this is where we're here. Do that. It would have been way better. And then at the end, you could have played like Free Bird or something like that, of them like driving off into the sunset, or All Right, something, one of those songs. Been way better. And also, another complaint within the episode is they play Carry On Wayward Son when Dean's driving around and Sam's dying. And then, or Sam's living his life. And then they get to the point where Sam's dying and they start like this cover song of Carry On Wayward Son, which was just a horrible song. I think it felt like a parody. There was parts of the episode that felt like a parody. And that really bothers me. That's the part that bothers me about this episode. Sam's wig, which was horrible, and like the song that felt like a parody. And again, there was things I had changed with the pacing and just kind of the structure, and there's just some moments I'd change. But those two parts just, I don't know, they just really bother me. But ultimately, like I said earlier, I feel like the heart of the episode was in the right place, but just the execution was just off. I really wanted to see Sam and Dean live their lives. I wish there was a jump forward in time in that final episode, like 5-10 years, like that way you knew that they actually got to live their lives freely. At least Dean, because he wanted it more than anyone, and it felt like he didn't get any of it. It felt like he was cheated. And I get it, supernatural, you know, stuff doesn't always go the right way. I get it. But he was just cheated out of that. It's just frustrating. And then the montage of Sam just kind of sucked. Not going to lie. Like I said, there was moments that were enjoyable enough. It was acted well on that front. That was great. But we missed out on so many opportunities that we could have saw, especially once they got to heaven. You could have just done all that, but I guess COVID restrictions and issues that they just couldn't. It's really disappointing that they couldn't do that. Because they went for a happy ending, and that would have been the happiest of all the endings of Supernatural. But, you know, it is what it is. There's no going back now. It's over. It is what it is. Another thing, too, I think what makes this ending a lot more difficult for me, I think I was trying to maybe even compare it to Swan Song, and that's literally one of the best endings to a show, or what was supposed to be endings to a show ever. So you're never going to top that. Really, Swan Song is an incredible episode, and could have been one of the best finales of a show ever. So I knew this episode wasn't going to top that, but I guess you kind of feel and kind of hope that maybe it's as good as Swan Song, and it definitely wasn't. The heart was in the right place, the overall execution wasn't great, and out of the three main characters, Sam, Dean, Castiel, season 15 had the most lame deaths that they ever had for those characters. Dean dies by rebar, Cass gets sucked into empty, even though he's back alive technically. Jack saves him some off screen somehow, some way, and Sam dies of old age. I just wish they're all a little bit more heroic. Castiel's technically was. I'll give him that. You know, I didn't care for it, but it was more heroic instead of Dean dying on a piece of rebar like Rick Grimes, even though I know Rick Grimes doesn't die. But you get where I'm coming from. Literally, my two most favorite fictional characters in the entire world pretty much died by rebar. Both of them. What are the odds of that? Seriously. It's crazy. But I want to know your thoughts down below. What did you think of the Supernatural finale, the overall season 15? Let me know down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. My Instagram is linked down below if you want to follow that. And thanks again for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.